Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with the latest in budget deck technology. And for today's deck tech, we're going to be smashing our way to victory utilizing, of course, a time-tested favorite among fans. We are talking about Boros Hammertime, or as I like to call it myself, Smashy Smashy. But first, as always, let's go over, of course, the details of the deck. So as you can see right here on the details, we're looking at a 1.4 on the mana curve. Of course, we're in Boros colors. We will be utilizing 18 creatures total with 8 instants, 7 artifacts, 8 enchantments, 2 planeswalkers in Nahiri, and 19 lands. Now again, to answer the question real quick, what exactly has changed since we've looked at Hammertime a couple of years ago when we first played the deck? Well, a couple of the biggest changes, of course, is now that we got Shadows over Innistrad Remastered added to Arena, we finally have access to Sigarda's Aid. Let's talk about this card real quick. So for 1 mana white enchantment, you may cast an aura or equipment spells as though they had flash. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So in other words, imagine, if you will, we put our Colossus Hammer, which gives one of our creatures +10/+10 onto something else, and we smash through our opponent's defenses, defeating their chump blockers, sometimes even their biggest creatures, and just hopefully getting to that victory. But also, what else can help us ensure that we can get that victory? There actually is a quick little combo we can pull off utilizing either Fireblade Charger or Cacophony Scamp. Cacophony Scamp is a 1 mana creature that's a Phyrexian Goblin Warrior, where it reads, whenever the Scamp deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, you proliferate. When Cacophony Scamp dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So in other words, the simplest way to explain this is the Colossus Hammer gets added to the Scamp swings, deals damage, we sacrifice the Goblin, deal the remaining points of damage to our opponent's face, and get the victory. So in other words, this all just takes about 2 to 3 card combo to pull it off. Of course, if we just can't pull off the Scamp combo, we do also have as well the Fireblade Charger, which allows us, of course, to do its damage equal to its power to any target. So think of that as, again, plan B with the Scamp itself. Otherwise, your other creatures that you're going to have in the deck that will take advantage of things or protect themselves, as we have Seasoned Hallowblade. If we tap it by discarding a card, it will gain Indestructible. So if we have a couple extra cards we don't need, we can throw it away, protecting itself and ensuring that we still have a target for the hammer. Core Blade Master, this 2 mana Core Warrior, gives one of our equipped warriors double strike. All of our creatures, with the exception of course the Rabbit Battery itself, is the warrior creature type and basically can then do double damage if we have any of these equipment attached to it, which forces our opponent to chump block like for days if they have nothing else to do. Speaking of additional creatures, technically Rabbit Battery is more of on the equipment side for us than an actual creature, but we're going to keep it, of course, because this can turn on any one of our creatures and give it haste. If they have a hammer on it, that makes it even faster for us to hit them and do more damage. Bitter Reunions, for example, allow us to discard a card and draw 2 cards. We can sacrifice, of course, this enchantment to give all of our creatures haste, which is going to be great if we just need to do a quick swing at our opponent to finish them off. We have Resolute Strike as an additional way besides Sigarda's Aid to attach any one of our hammers to one of our creatures, and hopefully we can just close out the game. Also give them a quick little pump, which can sometimes help protect against certain removal spells. Loran's Escape is going to be here to protect any of our creatures for anything general such as wraths or spot removal. As for any other equipment, we have a single copy of Team Pennant. It does look a little strange in the deck, but giving our creature +1/+1 with Vigilance and Trample ensure that we can force through the damage so our opponent can't chump block forever. And then finally, in the 4-drop slot, we have copies of Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients. Basically with this card, it helps us create a bunch of extra little tokens, which allows us to go pseudo wide for a little bit, and also its ability to attach any one of our equipment to that creature can help us also ensure that we can get through more damage. Its -2 also can help us dig for more hammers if we can't find them, of course, in our opening hand, or if we just need to look for something else. You're probably not going to use the -3 option. Not that's a big deal for us. You're focusing, of course, on the +1 and -2 abilities. Otherwise, for your whole mana base, you will have 7 plains, 5 mountains since we are a budget deck, a single copy of Axgard Armory. Most likely this is only going to be in the mid to late game, but allows us to then dig for another equipment if we do sacrifice it for its high mana cost, 2 Inspiring Vantage, and 4 Sacred Foundry. These are the most expensive cards in the deck if you make this in paper, but they are essential because we want to make sure that in our early turns we have untapped mana. For your sideboard, you will have copies of Deafening Silence to slow down combo decks, Ossification is going to be your catch-all for removal against our creatures or planeswalkers out there. Soul Guide Lantern for a card draw if we need to in a pinch, but it's of course our go-to for graveyard hate. Rip Apart to destroy any artifacts or enchantments, and of course it can destroy a creature also in a pinch. And for additional types of protection, we have a copy of Mirror Shield as another equipment, and Wings of Hubris. It does seem a little redundant versus the Team Pennant, but there are going to be some matchups where you might want to be able to fly over your opponent's creatures to get to victory, or even sacrificing it to guarantee that they cannot block against anything we throw at them. And finally, against some of the life gain decks out there, we have 2 copies of Tibalt Rakish Instigator. Otherwise, that's the whole deck for you. It's a very simple deck that's just focusing on getting that hammer attached to one of our creatures, smashing our opponent, and hoping we just close out the game before they have a way to stop us. But the final question I just want to ask is, can this combo with the upgrades we get actually compete? Well, we're about to find out, so let's take this deck into some matches and see how well it performs. But before we continue, if you do like any of the content that I do, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you watch the content so you don't miss out on any of the gameplay, booster pack openings, deck decks, and so much more. Okay, my fiery friends, here we go. We're playing our Hammertime deck. We're gonna go smashy smashy. And okay, so we have the Resolute Strike, we have the Season Hellblade, we actually have everything we need. All we just need to do is just play our stuff and we might be able to get there. We actually do need a white source, but let's keep this in the hopes that maybe we'll get a Plains. We get that, we are set. Okay, got another Season Hellblade, so mountain down. We will get down the Cacophony Scamp. We can also use our Bitter Reunion also to throw away stuff we don't need. Hopefully we'll get another land. Okay, so we have some kind of Grixis deck. Okay, we're still getting mountains, which is kind of awkward. We'll find a way to get there. Go swinging. Our opponents. We do not proliferate. That might be something that can help us out, of course, in the future. The sacrifice, as soon as we get there. Bitter Reunion. We will throw away... Wait, what do we throw away? Okay, we need to throw away the Season Hallowblade. Draw 2. Wow, okay. Our deck is not helping us out right now. We're getting all white sources and no red... Actually, a red source, but no white. You get what I'm saying. Okay. Anyway, opponent's doing Prismari Command. Okay, looks like they're trying to get Emerald Cult to go off, but that's fine because we just got our Inspiring Vantage, and we will now put down the hammer. Did we just get it right here? I think we just got it right here. Okay, so Resolute Strike, Colossus Hammer, go swinging, hit them to 13. They're down to 6. Sacrifice our creature. Hit him directly to our face. And there you go, everybody. Wow, we pulled it off. That was the fastest we were able to pull that off. I couldn't believe we actually did that. That's exactly the deck. That was the dream. Okay, everybody, so here we go. We are playing our Hammertime deck. And okay, so we have more or less everything we need to get it going, but we don't actually have our hammer yet. Can we draw into it? Let's hope we can. So we'll keep this, and we'll hope we will get at least some action going. Okay, so we got our opponent mulliganing. We will put down we'll put down the Sacred Foundry. Fireblade Charger. And we pass. Okay, so if we can draw into things, then we are set. If we don't, then we might be screwed. Okay, Fanatical Firebrand. Is our opponent going to sacrifice that? Yes, they do. Okay. I mean, that's fine for now. We still have other ways of getting to victory. Ooh, we got our hammer. Okay, this is actually good. So, with that, we need to put down our other stuff here, and Colossus Hammer down first. I'm doubtful that our opponent actually has Artifact Hate in the main deck, so that should come to our advantage if they're playing something like Goblins. Okay, opponent did not do anything there. So, with that, we will then play Plains. We will put down Season Hallowblade. If they're mono red, that's actually a major advantage for us. Bone Crusher Giant. We will tap Season Hallowblade. Actually, hold on. We can actually do this now. Resolute Strike. Putting the Colossus Hammer on there. Bone Crusher Giant hits us, but that's actually okay because nothing in their hand actually is going to destroy us. Okay, opponent is going to try to force their way through by blocking, but we more or less have what we need. So with that, Core Blade Master. Double striking. We swing. Is our opponent now just going to force themselves to be chump blocking the rest of the game? You have no choice but to block, opponent. There's nothing else you could do unless you just want to lose on the spot. Opponent's letting the clock run out for some reason. I guess if you're facing this, you don't really have much of a choice. We destroy, of course, their annex. Makes a little satyr. Not that it really matters to us anymore. We then pass. Even though our opponent doesn't really have much of anything to destroy the Seasoned Hallowblade, we need to make sure we still have some cards just in case. So our opponent right now is just going to be in chump blocking mode for the rest of the game. And never mind, they already gave up. There you go, everybody. So that was the deck. As always, this is fabulous. I actually love how this deck has gotten a lot better now since our latest set dropped. Okay, my fire friends, here we go. We are playing our Hammertime deck, our smashy into victory, and okay, we're having the same problem again. We keep getting the lands that are opposite of the cards we need. So we're gonna have to mulligan here, and okay, this is actually a lot better. So again, we don't have our equipment, but we do have ways of drawing into stuff. So let's keep. We will then put back, what do we put back here? I think the best thing here is we'll just put back a Sacred Foundry, or actually, put that back to Plains. The Bitter Reunions can then draw us into more action if we absolutely have to. So with that Sacred Foundry down, we'll put down Cacophony Scamp, and we will pass. So like our other games we've had, we don't have the hammer, of course, but we're going to hopefully draw into it. So with that, we will put down Sacred Foundry number 2, Bitter Reunion, throwing away, we'll throw away the Fireblade Charger, draw 2. No proliferating or anything just yet. Declined. We have Nahiri, which is nice, but we just need to get to one of our hammers. Okay, so next from here, we will then play a mountain. Let's go swinging to see if our opponent does anything. They do not. We decline, of course, the action. Second Bitter Reunion. We will then throw away this time Fireblade Charger. Draw 2. Okay, Sigarda's Aid's not bad. Let's see if this actually resolves. Great. Okay. So we just need the hammer still. Looking for that hammer, everybody. Seasoned Howlblade's okay. Snatch our opponent again. We're gonna have to take them the super long route for this at this rate, but that's fine. Let us play Nahiri. I'm expecting this to get counterspelled right now. Watch. Pretty sure our opponent's gonna be very predictable. Yep. They literally saw it coming. But that's okay, everybody. We still have other ways of getting our creatures down and just start going aggro here if we absolutely need to. Okay, another Scamp. So this time, we're going to try this instead. So let's Season Hallowblade. We will then sacrifice a Bitter Reunion, turning on the Hallowblade to go hasty. We can go swinging here. Down to 13. No proliferating, because we got nothing really to take advantage of that, and we pass. I'm assuming our opponent is just some kind of control counterspell deck, but, I mean, again, if we kind of force our opponent into a point where they kind of have to start using up their wraths in a certain way, this might help us out. Ooh, okay, we got our hammer. Okay, this is perfect. So we need to now lure our opponent out a bit. We'll put down one Scamp. This is a time where things are going to be tricky, because I really want our opponent to tap out here. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. Okay. This is actually what we needed. Okay. Opponents. What do? They make a token. That's okay. This is perfect. Opponent blocks here. Colossus Hammer coming down. This is exactly... Yes! We got there! Ah, our opponent saw us. We did it. We did it. We did it, everybody. That was beautiful. And there you have it, everybody. So that was our smashy deck for you, basically what everyone else calls Hammertime. And I'm going to be honest with you, the deck, of course, is still amazing. Definitely, I am super happy with how this deck performed. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And for those of you out there who haven't had a chance to really play around with this deck, well, of course, we played with it a couple years ago, what I mentioned. But again, now is better than ever to play the deck. If you can put it all together, it's an amazing, fun, hilarious deck when it does go off. But I'm pretty sure you're asking out there, can we actually make it even better? Well, let's actually look at some possible upgrades for you. Now, if you're interested in upgrading the deck, here's again what I'm going to recommend here. So, we're going to get rid of our team pennant. We now have Shadow Spear as a much more powerful legendary artifact equipment that will not only give us trample but lifelink. Yes, we will lose the vigilance, but that's again a small price to pay for getting the stabilization against aggro decks out there. For your other upgrades, Core Blade Master can get replaced with Lizard Blades. For this one, I'm just going to do a 50-50 split because there's going to be moments I would rather actually have the ability to give all of our warriors double strike, but this is going to come down to personal preference. For the land base, you're just going to get in a couple more dual lands where you can. I squeezed in, of course, the pathway lands, but if you have more of Inspiring Advantage, more power to you. By all means, throw them in. But that's otherwise going to be all I would recommend for the main deck. There's actually not too many things you really need. Even on a budget, what we had already was already solid. As far as the sideboard is concerned, most of it will stay the same. There are going to be some things I would recommend, which is going to be, for example, Authority of the Consuls. This just helps us slow down the enemy aggro decks out there we have to deal with. Definitely keep in those silence against combo decks out there and control decks. Ossification is going to stay because it's a solid catch-all, and we do still run a couple of basic lands to make advantage of it. Keep your rip-aparts, of course. We'll add in Grafdigger's Cage. This again throws off those graveyard shenanigan decks and stops Greasefang. And then the only other thing I would recommend is putting in Havilar, God of Battle, which can also be used as Sword of the Realms. This is an awesome card that gives you flexibility by giving one of our creatures double strike whenever we equip something to it at the beginning of each combat, or you can utilize it as an actual equipment, which also can help protect our creatures whenever they get blown up because they'll get bounced back to our hand for extra value. But overall, no matter how you look at this deck, I don't know about you, but Hammertime continues to just get better and better. What was once seen as just a silly gimmicky meme deck out there has actually become quite a powerful force in several formats where it is utilized. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Are you a fan of this style of deck? I would love to hear from you below. So before we again finish up this video, I do want to assure you that we are definitely looking towards March of the Machine with a handful of new awesome fun decks out there, but we are going to try to wrap up a couple more cards I do want to play around with Shadows over Innistrad Remastered still just fresh and new to Arena. But my only other final thought that I want to say is, if you are a fan of decks where you can win out of nowhere, if you do like these kinds of gimmicky style of equipment decks out there, definitely give Hammertime another shot because it's only getting so much more better out there. And I assure you, when you get that sweet victory by smashing your opponent with a one-hit KO, you will not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.